Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Founders Grid sponsored by Gaper.io. Today, we have Smithy with us, who is the co founder of Advantage Club. Welcome to the show, Smithy.
Thank you, Zin, for having me. Really excited to be here.
No problem. We're glad to have you. Smithy, how about you start with a brief background of yourself and your work experience? Tell us something about yourself.
Mm-hmm. So, like you mentioned, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm the founder of Advantage Club. So, my company is a global digital platform for rewards, recognition, and employee engagement. We run with more than 370 organizations across 65 countries, and we help organizations drive different programs to help engage their employees and drive better workplace productivity and happiness. I started my journey back in 2016, so it's been a while. Prior to starting Advantage Club, I was working with Microsoft in their Redmond, US office, and I'm also a UCLA alumni.
That is so impressive, I must say. Very impressive indeed. So we have a UCLA graduate with us. Pretty impressive.
Yeah,
pretty
always
impressive.
a
So I suppose you have worked as a remote employee, right?
Yes. So, not before I started my own venture, but yeah, of course, after COVID, I think everyone in the world has. So, yeah.
How was your experience with the whole remote work?
It has been a mixed experience, honestly. Like in terms of number of hours, I feel it took longer to do the same amount of work, especially if your work involves collaborating with other employees. It was annoying to get like 100 calls a day, if you're not used to that kind of a setup. But yeah, in terms of the upside, what I liked is being in like a client facing business. Pre-COVID, we could do like 3 4 meetings a day maximum, but in a remote setup we can now do like 10 meetings, 9 meetings a day, and never in my whole life I would have imagined that I could do so many meetings. So yeah, in terms of the number of clients you can talk to, the number of contracts you can close, it has been much better.
That's perfect. Okay, so since the pandemic is coming to an end already, right? And many companies are going back to the whole norm, basically the typical way of working. They're going back to the offices, and some are basically being forced to stay online, and some are willingly still online. They're remote. So, what do you think is the future here? What do you think is the future of remote employment?
I feel it's gonna be a hybrid model because I don't think a pure remote setup is here to stay, especially once COVID is like kind of gone. I don't think it'll like completely go away. We'll still keep getting variants probably for some time at least. But I think the future of work is going to be a hybrid model in which you'll have some people working from office, some working from home, some days at work, some days at home, because doing a pure remote setup has also kind of been a drag for people now. And a pure office setup is not very productive because you spend a lot of time, traveling, especially if you're like doing meetings or you're going to office, coming back to work, you're stuck in traffic. So I think it's going to be a hybrid in the future.
Right.
One of the other things which has changed is people have been able to employ other people, like companies have been able to employ people outside their home countries or locations. So that's going to be more common now. Earlier, if you were to say hire somebody in, I don't know, Mexico, sitting out of the US, you'd have to have an office there. But I think that's not the case anymore.
I agree with you like 100%. Well, myself, I prefer the remote style of working because it's legit. You can work from your couch. Your couch is your office, right? But yes, I agree with you. The hybrid model is, I think, here to stay. But I don't mind the completely remote model either. So yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Enough about COVID. And all that. Tell us about the story behind your setup. What was your journey like? How did you come up with the whole idea? Tell us something about that.
The setup of the company or the setup of remote working?
Your company.
Okay. So, well, me and my co-founder Saurabh, we were working with Microsoft, like I mentioned, and we used to get like insane amount of employee benefits. So wherever we'd go, especially anyone who's lived in Seattle or any of the areas around that, you get like a lot of benefits as Microsoft employees, where whether you're renting an apartment or whether you're going to a restaurant or even if you're watching a movie, there's always a Microsoft benefit. So it was a big craze among employees. And I think my husband moved from Amazon to Microsoft, and Amazon was like exactly the opposite. So he was even more excited about it. We had a lot of people moving in from US to US from countries like India, from countries like China. And they used to be amazed at these benefits. And it was surprising to us because we used to think that Microsoft is such an employee centric company. Why don't they have those benefits in the other countries? So we reached out to the HR Spocks who were there in the US, and we asked them that you have these benefits in US, you have them in UK. Why don't you have them in the other countries? So they said that, in developing countries, especially, there are no providers who give us these benefits. Whereas in the US, in UK, and other developing countries, there are other third-party providers who give these benefits. So that was kind of a light bulb moment for us. And we realized that there's a huge gap in developing countries in terms of employee benefits, recognition, employee engagement, and all of these programs. And if you think about it, people in Southeast Asia, Middle East, North Africa regions, they work equally hard, if not harder, than their counterparts in the US, but
True.
they don't get the same amount of benefits. So that we thought that we could disrupt this space and we could create like a truly global benefit company for organizations and their employees worldwide. And that's when we decided to start the venture.
That's perfect. So, basically, you guys started off remote, or were you forced to? You guys started off remote, right?
We started with just two of us, right? So it was just me and my co-founder, Saurabh. So I'm not sure it was remote, but it'd be more like, we were in one city, selling in another city. We were pretty agnostic. Yeah, I'd say it was kind of hybrid back then as well,
All right.
because you can't travel that much when you're bootstrapped. You're short of money, right? So you're not going to spend a lot on flight tickets and even like local transportation. So a lot of our meetings would be remote, but for the local companies, the local clients, we'd meet them face to face.
Oh,
And we started off from our apartment. So yeah, if that counts as remote, that's what we did.
I'd like to put it in the remote section to just get more votes, because I like remotes. I'm just gonna keep you guys in my section right here. All right. So moving towards our last question. So there are companies like Gaper that help develop, build, and scale products, especially for startups. How important
Mhm.
do you think such setups are in the startup world and for founders looking to hire smart?
Yeah. So hiring is a really big challenge. Like it has always been a challenge, but I think today it's become even more difficult because you can be anywhere and can literally be hired anywhere. So for organizations who have specifically focused in the past on doing on-campus hirings or doing face-to-face hirings, I think they need to change that thought process today. And that's where I think programs or products like Gaper come in, where you can help hire people from anywhere, right? So this is like a new thing which has come up, and in the past as well, companies have tried to find talent outside their respective cities, but there haven't been platforms who've helped them do that. So I think platforms like Gaper are really helpful there, in which so I'm sitting in one city, I want to hire another city. I don't want to build a team there. I want to do that sitting right where I am. So I think it's a great concept, and I think the market really needs it.
Well, thank you. That was a perfect answer, I must say. So sadly, that was it. And thank you so much, Smithy, for joining us today. It was lovely talking to you.
Same here, Zoom. Thank you so much and have a wonderful rest of the day.
You too. You too. Thank you, Smithy.